Watching the protest action in KwaZulu-Natal tonight, a very volatile situation. You told us, Jade, earlier. What's the situation now?
Well, Francis, the viewers can see back at home that the situation remains the same here in KwaZulu-Natal, in Durban. I am coming to you from Russell Road here in the Durban CBD, where you can see protesters have taken to the streets. They're burning tires, burning anything actually to disrupt traffic. There were law enforcement here. They are busy with the group that has been looting further up. We had to flee that situation, that they are throwing stones and they are shooting live ammunition here in Russell Road. So we drove down the road and found these people. They burning, as you can see, that gentleman intimidating us as the media. And these are the scenes that have been playing out for most of the day here in Durban. Earlier on, we came from Shallcross, where police were very busy. They were trying to also keep...
Jade, let's cut this crossing. Okay, you can see you are being intimidated.
You're just going to move from here.
Sure.
We're just going to move. We're being intimidated. We're going to move from here. We are in a hybrid van for the viewers that are watching this back at home. So we're going to be leaving. I think let's leave, Heinrich.
Yeah.
Let's leave.
All right, Jade, let's leave it there and we'll get in touch with you as soon as we can. And that just gives you a sense of what journalists are having to put up with. SABC News, a team earlier today, physically assaulted, robbed of all their broadcast equipment. These protesters believe that the media is not on their side, although, of course, journalists giving them an opportunity to air their grievances. We saw her saying that police can't even stop this barricade, stop the burning on the streets that we saw right in front of our eyes, because they are dealing with looters down the road. And we know that there have been in several looting incidents. Earlier we heard that a mall was being threatened. So security, police being stretched to the limit tonight. There again, Jade, Leigh, Paulse and the team are sending us live visuals so you can see that the streets are being barricaded. This is a street in the centre of Durban, she said, and we saw those protesters intimidating her live on television. Okay, Jade, I think you are in a safer spot now. So really the police can't even deal with this situation because they are elsewhere dealing with looters.
That's true, Francis. We are coming to you in a very safe hybrid van, driving through the Durban CBD. Police, we left them behind. We moved down the road and that's where we found these protesters. Some were trying to get into shops and loot. I did see Metro Police going down the road. I am trying to get hold of the Metro Police spokesperson, Paulse, just to tell us what other deployments are going to happen in the Durban CBD. But the visuals that you are seeing on your screens right now is basically what is happening and unfolding. You can see they are burning anything they can find their hands on. Rubbish bags were also taken out of rubbish bins to burn rather on the in the CBD on this road. That road that you are watching and seeing right now on the visuals on your screen is Russell Road. And further on top, for any commuters that are coming into the Durban CBD, try and avoid this particular road, West Road and Russell Road on your screens right now.
So you said there were kids earlier, Jade, Leigh. Yes, carry on.
Where we are safe right now. We just move further down. We have our cameras zooming in for any viewers that are concerned about our safety. We are fine. This is playing out now. I think the police are coming around that bend, Francis. I see them running. I see some of the protesters running, yes.
Let's watch the situation just for a little while. We can see people running, as you say, Jade, Leigh, and earlier you said that young kids were throwing rocks and stones, so that is to prevent any vehicles coming into these protest areas.
I presume that's the modus operandi right now. When we were in Shallcross, I was actually very disturbed by children as young as 8 years old holding stones in their hands. While we were driving, I tried to chat to them, like, just to engage from them how the situation was. It was indeed volatile. They looked at us and they were ready to stone our SABC vehicle. And I mean, this is basically what's unfolding right now. And I presume that roping in children in this volatile situation only deters police from opening fire, only deters them from dispersing the crowds with rubber bullets.
Yeah, there's a car seemingly being threatened, driving through. Sure. Okay, I think that car decided.
Yeah, that's a taxi that's just
the taxi would go through
right now.
Jade, does this seem political? Remember, we saw some efforts to organise protests to see the former President Jacob Zuma released. Are you seeing anything that suggests this is for political demands, or has it just now become about looting and a lot of criminality going on?
Well, Francis, since the incarceration of former President Jacob Zuma, there has been protests that have been taking place. There has been large gatherings taking place. But as of yesterday, we've seen it increase. It's become more volatile, much like what's happening in Gauteng now with the Gauteng shutdown movement that's taking place, the Free Jacob Zuma movement that's taking place. And in KZN, we did not see things spiraling out of control in this regard, with looting taking place, with violent protests. But now it has since gotten to this point, and one can only imagine or possibly try. And I'm just looking at these visuals now, Francis. I think police have just come now. I see people running. This is all a culmination of frustration from former President Jacob Zuma's supporters, and they are now taking to the streets demanding his release. Tomorrow is going to be a very important day. Constitutional Court is sitting with that matter, and this is a call for everyone to support former President Jacob Zuma, to stand in solidarity and to basically go to the streets and stand in solidarity for a man that they believe should not be incarcerated.
All right, Jade Leigh, please stand by for us. Thank you for bringing us those visuals, and we'd like to keep them on screen. So what you have now on your screen is visuals from KwaZulu-Natal, and then on the other side, visuals coming to us tonight from Johannesburg, and also burning on the streets. And let's speak to our reporter, Makaketla Motlabe, who's there in Johannesburg. Makaketla, what are you seeing?
Yeah, good evening, Francis. What you are seeing in that picture, we are actually at Volmaran Street, and as you can see, some of the protesters are running through that road there, where they've actually set alight some of the tires, as well as some wood boxes. We saw them being thrown into there, and at this stage I can tell you that it looks like police are overwhelmed. That's simply because ever since we have been actually trying to follow police nyalas and vans throughout downtown Johannesburg, rubber bullets were fired, tear gas fired, as well as water cannons. But still, the protesters continue to come together and continue singing, as you can hear behind this particular picture in that particular street. And that's where we cannot take any risk to go at this stage, because even arriving where we are right now, our car was pelted with stones while we were with police. So we are actually being extra careful here when it comes to trying to bring you this story from downtown Johannesburg. And as I mentioned, police definitely seems to be overwhelmed. And as they've also mentioned earlier on, about 3 of them were actually caught in a crossfire, from what we understand, in Alexandra. And one of the police officers is still trying to fight for his life in hospital. 2 of them, of course, escaping with slight injuries. At this stage, police, I suppose, are also trying to take a step back in terms of trying to make sure that their members are actually not in danger. They are actually continuing to monitor from a distance fires, not only here. When you drive around Johannesburg, you also see some rubbles around the road. You see rocks still blocking some of the major routes here in Johannesburg. And of course, when you go to other corners, you see a group of people running away from the police nyalas, police trying to shoot them with rubber bullets. But it looks like these crowds continue to swell throughout the night. Not far from where we are, there is a bottle store that was looted, a retail store as well, and this is where police are actually trying to be situated in order to prevent these lootings from happening amid these protests.
Yeah, so you can imagine it's hard for police if these crowds swell and then dissipate and people go down different streets. Almost like guerrilla warfare. Explain the same question to you as I posed to Jade Leigh. Is there any sense that this is a political fight? Anything about the former president? I don't know if you're able to speak to those demonstrators, or does it look like a lot of looting going on right now?
Yeah, I mean, at this stage, it's a matter of looting that's going on, and it's been difficult, of course, to speak to them for the sake of our safety. And as I mentioned, we're trying to also take a little bit of distance and try to be next to where police are in order for us to be safe. But at this stage, we haven't been able to speak to them, as they've actually shown hostility towards media, and we're really trying to bring you this story in as much as possible, but again taking precautionary measures by being next to police officers who are also trying to actually step back, to take a step back from where these crowds are, because wherever they see cars passing by, they are actually throwing stones. And as you can hear, sounds of gunshots. We are not even sure if those gunshots are from police guns. As I mentioned earlier on, Francis, when we were on the M2 highway or freeway, we had gunshots from JP, and those sounded like live ammunition. But I can tell you that police saying that they are definitely sure that those are not their members. So meaning it could be just civilians or part of, or some of the people who are part of these protests here in downtown Johannesburg. No one is safe at this time of the night.
Ketla, I don't know if you are able to speak to some of those police officers, everybody waiting to hear from the spokesperson, Wayne Minnaar. If you are not able to speak to them, have there been any updates from police? Last we heard earlier today, more than 60 people had been arrested. There was some coordination efforts from police in KwaZulu-Natal and in Johannesburg as well. But I guess this is such a fluid situation. We don't even know now how many people have been arrested, what's happening in different parts of the city.
Yeah, from what we understand is that, over 25 people have been arrested ever since we got that communique from the National Police earlier this morning. We haven't actually received any information as yet, and from what we understand is that communication has been centralized to the National Police Department. In other words, provinces are not able to give us any updates at this stage. We are only relying on the National Police to sort of give us those statements in terms of how many people have been arrested. Earlier on, when we came here just around 6 p.m., we spoke to General Brigadier Peters, who said that they are still gathering information to sort of disperse it to media houses in order to give us an update in terms of how many people were arrested throughout the day. And you would recall that in Alexandra alone, we understand that about 18 people out of that 25 were arrested in that part of Johannesburg. 16, of course, linked to that incident where 3 police officers were shot in that incident. And as I mentioned, 1 police officer still critical in hospital.
Sure, an incredible situation playing out tonight in the Durban CBD and there in the Johannesburg CBD. Macha Ketla with the latest for us.